Welcome back to episode 2 of Tenet discussion. In this video, we're going to be talking about the physics concept of entropy. In the last video, we talked about Neil's timeline. This video is not going to be that much about the plot. It's more going to be about the physics concept of entropy, but we will talk a little bit later about the plot of Tenet and how it applies to the physics concept of entropy. So what is entropy? Entropy states that everything in the universe will gradually tend to become disordered. So we're going from order to disorder. We're going from a stack of bricks on the back of a truck to a bunch of bricks being laid out when the truck gets in a wreck and the bricks fall off the truck. Okay? And everything in the universe has entropy. And the higher the entropy, the more disordered something is. The lower the entropy, the less disordered it is, or the more ordered it is. And it's an interesting concept to think about, because let's say you cleaned your bedroom 1 week ago, okay? And we wait 2 more weeks. So 3 weeks after you cleaned your bedroom, it's probably not gonna be as clean as it was at first. Why? Well, it's because you're not putting in work to keep it in order. Everything is going to gradually tend to disorder in the universe, or the probability is higher that it will go to disorder than the probability is that it will stay in order. And eventually, when the universe runs out of heat, when the universe runs out of energy, it's called the heat death of the universe, everything will be scrambled. All atoms will be gone. It will just be photons. Everything will be scrambled and disordered, and that will be the end of the universe. So basically, if we wait long enough, everything will become disordered. But that's not exactly what entropy means. Mainly, entropy means that it's the probability that something will become disordered is higher than the probability that it will stay in order. So if we think about entropy a little bit, it kind of goes along with time, right? Because basically what I'm saying is, with time, stuff will become more disordered, right? Now in the movie Tenet, they use machines that can reverse the entropy of objects. So okay, that kind of reverses time too, right? Because if with time we go from order to disorder, yeah, that's on the screen. We go from order to disorder with the forward flowing of time. If we reverse the disorder in order, so we go from disorder to order. And Tenet deals a lot with the flipping of cause and effect. And let's just assume cause and effect, they don't really need to go in any order. Cause will never happen without effect, and effect will never happen without cause. Okay, so our cause is forward. So in the real world, our cause is the forward moving of time, and our effect is going from order to disorder. But now we switch it around. Our cause is going from order to disorder, and our effect will be the backwards moving of time because of that. So if we flip the entropy of an object, if we take an object and we take it from order to disorder. Okay, so I messed up multiple times here. I'm saying we're going from order to disorder. And when I'm talking about reverse entropy, we're going from disorder to order according to the forward movement of time. Now, if we're looking at it from the reverse aspect of time, then yes, we're going from order to disorder. But if we're looking from it for the forward perspective, we're going from disorder to order. Yeah, I think I said that right. So it's even super confusing to think about, and I just made a little bit of a mistake there. So back to the video. Its effect will cause time to go backwards. Still with me? So anyway, that's really confusing, and that's kind of what the movie in Christopher Nolan takes kind of like a liberty, takes a little bit of a leap not necessarily creating something that's fictional, but taking a guess at what would happen if you were to reverse entropy. Because We don't know if you can reverse entropy. So Neil says a very interesting thing in the movie. He says that almost everything, this is definitely not the actual quote, but he says almost everything in the universe is moving forwards and only a few objects are moving backwards. So the objects that are moving backwards are always swimming upstream. So forward entropy dominates. So think about that for a little bit. Forward entropy dominates over objects moving upstream, right? So if we think about that, we can draw a hypothesis saying that this gun, as it goes back into the past, slowly fades away because the forward entropic wind, that's a fancy word, is dominating, fancy phrase, is dominating over this gun, and it is blowing the inverted gun away. So we can hypothesize that, like, let's just say 2 years ago, the gun was just a few particles like that. And then 6 months ago, or 6 months before this event, the gun was, starting to form. And then, a week ago or 2 days ago, the gun became a full form and the protagonist saw it on the ground and it got picked up by the inverted protagonist, right? Okay, but you might be thinking like, that doesn't make any sense. If it's going backwards, it has to be going backwards. But here's the deal. As we've established earlier, entropy doesn't necessarily mean time. So we established that when entropy is going backwards, it is causing time. The effect is that time goes backwards. So if we assume that entropy is the cause, right? Entropy is the cause, then, so if entropy is the cause when it's going backwards, and eventually it gets flipped back around, then we're going back forward again, right? Because forward entropy dominates over the backwards object and it flips it back around and we're going forward again. So it's a real theoretical concept, but basically the whole gist of it is that this stuff works out. This stuff works out because entropy is separate from time. They're not intertwined, they're separate. So that's a really interesting subject to talk about. I hope I explained it well. I've got the idea in my head, I just don't know if I can articulate it well. It's funny that it took me a second to figure out the right word, which is articulate. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if it was confusing. Yeah,